Hello everybody, how are you? What's the crack? So as a follow-up to my YouTube introduction video, I thought I could do a Q&A. So I asked you guys to ask me questions on Instagram. Okay, here's the questions. How did you start in musical theatre? Okay, so I became obsessed with musical theatre when I was like 8 or 9. And around that same time, me and my mum were in a cafe in Bamburgh. Very, very small village in Northern Ireland. If you know, you know. And there was a leaflet in the windowsill for this musical theatre summer camp. And I ended up going to that summer camp when I was 10, and I went every year for 7 years. And they did everything with us. They did singing, dancing, Shakespeare, mime, comedy, improv, like we did it all. And they're still going strong to this day. The company is called Centre Stage, based in Northern Ireland, and I had the best summers of my life with them. So big shout out to them. Tips for starting out in musical theatre and tips for the drama school process. I think it's very easy for people to say, oh, get to a singing lesson, get to a dance class. And yes, I do think that is the best thing you can do. But I also know that that's not taking into account people's financial situation or what you have available to you, because like when I was growing up, I felt like I was really limited in terms of what I could do and the resources that were available to me. But what I did have was Google and YouTube, and even though like I couldn't go to a dance studio because there wasn't a dance school readily available on my doorstep, I could be really familiar with musical theatre. I could be really familiar with cast recordings. I could familiarize myself with the drama schools that there were, the shows that there were. Like I was a very well-read theatre kid, even though I couldn't necessarily put myself into singing lessons or dance classes. At least I had the knowledge of musical theatre behind me. And you can do that for free. So get on YouTube, babe. Drama school Q&A. Do you... What? Best memory from drama school. I played Gloria the Hippo in our second year production of Madagascar the musical. So there's that. Dream roles. Oh, okay, here we go. I feel like I mention these over on TikTok constantly anyway, but Judas in Jesus Christ Superstar, Miss Trunchbull in Matilda, need to age into that one. Frankenfurter and Rocky Horror, need to age into that one. And then the romantic in Choir of Man was actually one of my dream roles for a while, and then I got to do it like very soon after, so that was fun. Oh, speaking of Choir of Man, hypothetically, if you were asked to do a one-off emergency cover for Choir of Man, would you? I have been asked to jump into the West End several times to do like emergency cover shows here or there, and I have said no every time just because it's never really worked out timing wise, and I've never really been available. Now, even if I was given like 2 days notice to jump in, then yes, absolutely I would go in and do an emergency cover. Funniest moment from being in a show. I failed doing Choir of Man many times, because you have cups of beer on stage, but then the stage naturally like gets wet pretty much immediately. But then I also did the show on a cruise ship, so it's a wet floor that's also moving underneath your feet, so like we were slipping and sliding all over the place. When's your Alphabet debut? Tonight! What is your go-to job when you know you have a short time between contracts? As performers, I think like low commitment stuff is really great. Like for example, like I teach singing lessons on Zoom, but that's completely down to me how much I want to promote that, because there's certain times of the year where I have a lot more availability and therefore will teach a lot more people. But if I'm not available to, I won't mention that I have availability. So more ways of making money that are in your control. I think that's always going to be the best way. But also you can get office jobs and stuff that are like CRWAR contracts. So you can go in, work a shit ton for a couple of weeks and then disappear for a couple of months to do a job. Obviously it's very dependent company to company, but like I work for a company at the moment where it's CRWAR contracts, and I can work a lot if I put myself forward for that, and I can also take a step back for a couple of months to do other things. Who would you play in Starlight Express? The racetrack. What is your best advice for staying motivated during a quiet period? Oh, love this question, because I've been thinking about this recently. For some reason, I used to be in the mindset of, if I know that I have something to work towards, then I'll be more motivated to do it. So for example, if I know that I've booked a job that starts in March, I know that from now till March, I can be like really motivated, whether it's like in the gym or like with my vocal health, like whatever. But then because I was in that mentality, it meant that when I had periods of nothing really going on, it meant that I was just like not really chasing any goals and was just kind of like stagnant. But then I recently realized I'm like, the quiet periods are actually like the golden time, because that's the time where you should be prioritizing yourself in whatever way is necessary to you. So for me, like the quiet periods, that's when I should be prioritizing like my health and the gym and feeling good in my body and feeling good with my voice and like doing all that stuff. Because when you get busy with a job, rehearsals, whatever it is, you actually don't have as much time to look after yourself because the priority becomes the job. So when the job's not there and you don't have all that going on, the quiet period is actually the time to be doing the work. So I would highly encourage you to enjoy the quiet periods and relish them and actually like really make them count. That's what I've started doing recently, and it's made the whole thing just feel a lot more chill, and it's not life or death if I'm working or not working, because if I am in a quiet period, fantastic, because I'm using that time to, you know, work on number one, you know what I mean? Ah, guys, thank you so much for the questions. As I said in my first video, if there is anything in particular you want to see on this YouTube channel, please leave a comment, let me know. If you haven't already, please subscribe because it really helps me out. And yeah, that's it. Love yas! Love yas!